All right, so let me get to where we want to go here. Facebook, that's it, fabulous. All right, let's go here. And we're off to the races now. Share screen. All righty. And over to you, Brian. This is going to be the third time I've watched this, and I really enjoy it.
And bringing on some support, which means you got to spend some money. You got to go backwards before you can ramp up and break through and go forward.
Hey, Brian, it's Jeff Landon here.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going?
Good. Hey, I'm a solo agent right now. And, obviously solo agent's pretty profitable business to run. But do you see like the profit increase substantially if you go to a team model, or does it decrease but you get more listings? What is your typical experience with that? I've really been debating, growing and things of that nature.
I'll answer it this way. There's a difference between profit and profit margin. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. As a solo agent, you have a higher profit margin, which means you keep more out of each commission check. Okay.
Right.
However, if you run a team properly, you will have more profit, but you'll have a lower margin. Okay. And that's true of any business in any industry in the history of the world.
Yeah.
So the richest people in the world have the lowest profit margins. They just have, they're huge businesses, right? So they'll have enormous, like, let's talk Bill Gates, right? So Bill Gates has got, let's just say he runs Microsoft still. Microsoft has a tiny little margin. They probably have a margin of 1% because he's got 101 billion in revenue and 100 billion in expenses. So he's got a small little margin that's less than 1%. That's horrible math, but you get the idea. But he makes 101 million minus 100 billion is still $1 billion. So he's got a lot of profit, more than any individual programmer would. Okay. And that's true with real estate teams. A solo agent's going to have this high profit margin, but you might, by the time you pay all your costs and your brokerage fees and MLS dues and whatever little marketing things you do, for example, you might end up at the end of the year keeping, 70%, 60% of your income. But a team, you're usually down 20, 30, 40%. By the time you pay all your operating expenses, your administrative salaries, your pay out buyer agent splits to buyer agents, by the time you do all that, you're, at the end of the year, you're probably at 20, 30, at best 40%.
So you really have to have a strategic plan to ramp up growth quickly. Otherwise, it could be fairly painful.
Yeah, the way I would put it is you don't get a team until you have overflow business. Okay? So don't get a team to bring you business. If you're not planning on giving any leads away, because one of the things that agents joining your team would expect is a certain amount of leads that you'll need to provide to them. So if you don't have an overflow in leads, then you're going to go out and start buying leads. Well, hell, if you don't have enough business, you should be taking the leads you're buying. You know what I mean? So we really need to get to a place where leads are not a problem. And you're going to see that with all top agents, top producers. Leads are not a problem. And if you do what you need to do, leads will never be a problem. It's one of the first things we say to all our coaching clients is, hey, leads are not going to be your problem. So if you're running around and you need more business, you got a huge problem on your hands and you got to solve that problem. And I'll tell you, 80, 90% of the agents never figure out how to solve that problem. And it's not because of you or your circumstances or your lack of funds or anything.
Right.
It's just because you're making mistakes. You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. Yeah, you're not spending an hour or two a day trying to get new business, little things like that, because leads should never be your problem.
Okay.
Shouldn't be. And I'm not exaggerating or anything like that. Leads just shouldn't be a problem. Once you start to learn that mindset, then you'll very quickly have an overflow of business. And that's when we want to start growing real estate teams. That's when you bring on help. I mean, think about any business. You don't bring on help until you can't handle it yourself. because you're going to diminish your profit margin by bringing on help. You're going to pay for that help. And so either by commission or by salary, you're going to pay money.
Right.
So it's going to decrease your margin. You better get more revenue as a result of that. And what happens is you build up enough business, and usually for the average agent, that's somewhere, 20, 30, 40 transactions a year. You're going to get so busy in the spring and summer that you're not going to have time to generate new business anymore, especially those two times. So you shut down your marketing, you shut down your hour or two of lead generation, and then you plateau. That's a problem, because every year you'll come back around to spring and summer and you'll hit your head against that ceiling and you've plateaued. The only way to break through and go to a higher level and make more income is by leveraging and bringing on some support, which means you got to spend some money, you got to go backwards before you can ramp up and break through and go forward.
Yeah, I hit that plateau.
What's that?
I've never called it plateau, but like I hit that plateau every year, especially like in summertime, where it's just like I stop prospecting and whatnot because I'm working 10 escrows at a time and going crazy. And it's just like frustrating. So
yeah, if you're doing 10 at a time at just one part of the year, in all likelihood, how many units you close in a year, Jeff?
About 40.
Yeah, so it's time to leverage. There's no doubt about it. Yes, your margin will decrease, but your income will go up. Okay, does that make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Are you guys interested in this?
Absolutely.
I think it's a great conversation, Brett.
Yes.
Because a lot of us are going to get really, really busy in the next 4 months and be asking the same questions.
Yeah, that's it. And again, the one caveat I'll put on that is let's don't just get real busy with 3 transactions and close 4 this year and think you need to grow a big team. 40 units a year, it's definitely, Jeff is there. Like that's, in fact, you may have outkicked your coverage a little bit. That might be a little further than you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be painful. Here, I'm gonna actually pull up a file that I'm going to show you. This gets kind of heady, but I think you guys will all really like this. I'll probably answer a lot of questions you've had.
One thing I've noticed, Brian, just in my business is I have these, and it's because of prospecting, I have these crazy swings where it's like, I'm handling all these escrows, then I'm prospecting. Handling all these escrows, then I'm prospecting. So my business is like a mountain peak going up and down, which I'm positive isn't healthy. So.
Right. That's awesome. That's a good, you're in a great place, man. You're in a place where you're supposed to be, believe it or not. What I'd like you guys to do is take a look. And so,
Now, this document to me is gold for those of you that are thinking about growing your business and your career over time. This gives you an idea of it, what numbers you need to think about hiring who and what percentages you should pay. Now, this is available to you at any time on the Real Estate Agent Roundtable, and this actual document is there and you can close it. Excuse me, you can download it. I got a little confused when Ed walked by the screen just then. You can download it.
You have to look kind of close to take a look at it. But you're going to see what I've done is I've taken it. There's quite a few of these charts out there. The main influence behind this is actually from Gary Keller's Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. This is page 157 of the book, but I've changed a lot of these numbers around and taken a few other budget schedules and kind of merged them into one that I think I like a little bit better, because there's a lot of different real estate team structures out there.
And this is something I highly encourage you to do. And Brian and I talk about this. It's called Frankensteining something. You take something from somewhere, from something that someone's done, so you don't have to start with a blank page. And then maybe you take an arm from over here and you take a leg from over here and you put your own salt and pepper on it and you create something that's very meaningful for you. You don't have to invent the wheel. All you have to do is make sure that it's round, that it's inflated, and that it works. And so take this, if you need to massage it to fit you, but the thing I love about Brian is that his numbers are already massaged to fit us, to fit the agents. So please focus in on this, and it picks up, and I really like this one.
And this, I think, kind of accounts for all of them on average. And I think it works well because it's all based off percentage. So it really doesn't matter what your average price is. But this is an agent that does $8 million in 1 year, or a GCI of $240,000. Okay. And I did not fill in the units because that's very different. You know, the median home price in the country is, you know, give or take around $300,000. But in, you know, some of your areas, it's up around $800,000. So it depends, you know, 8 million could be a very different number of closings for each of you. Okay. And then of course we jump, now this is the agent that jumps up to 390,000 in GCI based on 13 million. And it keeps jumping up and keeps jumping up and keeps jumping up. And this one ends at 100 million or 3 million in GCI. Okay. So with that being said, if we take a look down here, these are the average operating expenses that we should have in some general categories as we move up.
So if you're thinking about growing, or you've already grown into a team, such as Amarillo has done, Ed's done, and others, Arthur and Gladys, you need to see if you're hitting these numbers. This is almost like a budget, if you will, and then you can develop your own budget off of what the average income expenses are throughout our industry.
Up through each column, okay? And you'll note down at the bottom, here's that concept we were talking about, Jeff. The net income of an agent at the $8 million level is only keeping 60% of his income here, because I've got some admin expenses he's already putting in. Okay, but you're not, according to you. I don't know if you're spending this much on marketing and lead gen. See, this agent is starting to decrease their profit margin because you're going to need to have these expenses at this level if you want to jump to this level.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the same thing's true here. These are the expenses you should have at this level if you want to jump to this level. And you'll see down at the bottom, the net income, the percentage, the profit margin, 55 to 50% to 45%, it drops. Like we said, all the way up to Bill Gates land.
Right.
But if you look at the dollar amount, it's going up. So the net income's going up. But the margin, the percentage of the income that you keep, the percentage of the GCI that you're earning is going down. And the other, so this graph assumes a couple things. Number one, you don't want to work more. So as you move from left to right and make more money, you're not working an increased amount of hours, which, Jeff, you're starting to see is an impossibility at 40 units a year.
Yeah.
Without some monstrous sacrifices, right? I mean, you can do it, but you're going to start cutting out family and friends and health and stuff like that. Like, things are going to start to go by the wayside. This assumes we're going to hold ourselves in a vacuum with regards to work-life balance. And it shows a way that we can increase expenses and increase income over time if we increase our expenses in a few key areas, which means we need to start paying for marketing and we need to start paying for administrative salaries. Those are your two big operating expenses. And eventually, we're going to start bringing on buyer's agents down here, which is called a cost of sale. Okay, so let me break this down into the few major areas to explain this chart to you. Is this interesting to all you? This is the business side of real estate. I guess a lot of people don't probably bring this out. So good, I will show you. So if we break down operating expenses, I mean, I get very general here because this is a chart and I don't want to make the chart a spreadsheet or everybody falls asleep. So I made a chart. So what ends up happening is your operating expenses, your total operating expenses, which are expenses that you have irregardless of whether you sell any real estate or not. Think of them as like monthly expenses. You know what I mean? Like if you're paying rent or you're paying for mailers or, you know, things like that, you're just going to pay for your CRM, whatever, your admin should never exceed 30% of your GCI. All of these percentages are taken from GCI. Okay. So we do everything off your GCI. So it really doesn't matter so much what your average price is. It's based on your commission income. Okay. Which kind of is the great equalizer of all things. So what we're saying here is your total operating expenses should never exceed 30%. And of that 30%, understand that the bulk of it, over 2/3 of it, 22% of the 30% is going to come from administrative salaries and marketing and lead gen. That's the bulk of it. So as you move from left to right and get rich, like Bill Gates, it's those two numbers that almost always need to be increased the most. Yeah, you probably want to increase your training, your education. You know, I'm a little self-serving there because you got to get a coach or you're a loser.
I just started laughing so hard when he threw that aside in. You know, you got to get a coach or you're a loser, and he just keeps going. It's just so Brian to just slide that little almost subliminal shot in there. Yeah, I loved it.
You know, things like that. You know, equipment and supplies. You got to buy pencils, paper. You got to pay a little bit for rent, that kind of thing. So all of those things do go up, yes, but they're peanuts compared to these two big monsters. Okay. So that's your one big expense is your operating expenses. That comes out typically regularly. That's the nut you got to crack. It's no fun. No one likes to pay it because they know even if they have a down month or something, they still got to pay that, and it's scary, which is great. Keeps so many people unsuccessful and the people I coach successful, so that makes us winners. There's a barrier to entry. This is it. I'm showing it to you. This is the barrier. There's another barrier too. And it's called a cost of sale. It's the other way we pay an expense on a team, and that's through a commission. This is less painful. So because of it, most agents make the mistake of doing this first. Well, I'll just bring on a bunch of buyer's agents because I only have to pay them when they sell something. And I just pay them 50%. Well, unfortunately, if you do that first, you are sure to fail. That's why no one does that. However, we still count them as a cost of sale. And this is what you pay your brokerage, anything that comes out of your commission check, right? It's what you pay your brokerage. It's what you pay, your buyer's agents. If you're hiring ISAs and you pay them up from commission, you pay them out of that. If you bonus admin out of it, you pay them out of that. That's your cost of sale. From accounting perspective, they call it a cost of goods sold. When you're in the service industry, usually it's some sort of cost of sale or something like that.
Now, I will tell you that way back when Shane was doing so much business and causing himself almost nosebleeds, he was working so hard that we made the decision to bring on someone like Vera. And we spent 2.5 months searching out. And when we found Vera, she has more than paid for herself in the business. And Shane has been able to lift his game because of the support and the skills that she brings to the table. And if you want to have a team, you need somebody like that in your corner.
Same thing. You only sell it. You only pay it if you sell it. Okay. So you're going to see for the average agent, it's very low when you first start off because Jeff, you might, at this level, you might just have one buyer's agent here, maybe even just for part of the year. And so the percentage, in fact, at this level, you probably don't have a buyer's agent. You just pay, your commission split out to your brokerage. Yeah. But then you jump over here, it's going to be really hard to do 13 million without another agent involved, right? I mean, that's you selling about what, going from 40 houses up to 70 houses. Well, you're not going to do that without somebody else, but 1 or 2 people. So this number is going to go up because you're going to start paying out 50% commissions, but you're happy to do that because you weren't going to get that much in GCI without them. It's stuff you couldn't have had, right? So that shoots over here. And as you're going to see, that number keeps going up. That expense is your biggest. Look at that. All the way out here, it's your biggest expense. It's 40%. Why? Because you're not doing as much. Out here, you got, a gazillion agents working for you. So, of course, a bigger chunk of the GCI is going to come from them. We hope that gets up to very little from you at all. We coach a lot of clients that have very little production of their own at all. And they have all cost of sales. That's really the goal. Mm-hmm. The goal is to step out of it and have, other people, doing a lot of being the laboring oars, and you're the leader running the organization. So we're really trying to cut back how much production we bring, which in a sense is cutting our margin. So almost all businesses we're trying to grow, we're trying to cut our margin, believe it or not, to increase our net income.
That's so helpful. Thank you.
Does that make sense how that works? So this chart, which I will share with you all, I know someone's probably asking for that. I will share with you.
So when you go to the Real Estate Agent Roundtable, you scroll down and you find this. The document is going to be right there and you can download it. Brian, of all the coaches I've ever seen who worked with, Brian is the one that's the most free with the abundance. And he'll say to you, any of the materials like that we discussed yesterday, the closing checklist, he said, listen, just take that document. It's editable. Take my name off of it, put your logo on it, put your name on it, and go out and make some money and advance your career. With everything, it's just been amazing to me that he sees everything as that kind of abundance. So take advantage of that, make it your own.
This should tell you when you should be hiring all members of a real estate team, if you can decode it, right? Because you can see right here, like, check it out. Admin salaries. I geek out on this stuff. I really do. This is my happy place. You know, you can see we start getting up here. We got a really high level admin here. And now, you know, we're talking about an admin and a half, maybe 2 admin out here, maybe bringing on a director of operations, because our admin salaries are getting out to 144 to 216,000. Can you imagine paying administrative staff salaries at that level? Well,
how great would it be to be able to pay administrative staff salaries at 140 or $216,000 and know that it's only 12% of your GCI, and then you still got another 88% to work with after that. Smaller margin, bigger profit.
just understand you're a baller though. Look how much you're making down here.
Be a baller.
I got no problem if I'm making $720,000 a year paying out 216. I think most of you'd make that trade. But you got to inchworm your way up there, right? I mean, we got to slowly increase and invest in our business to keep making each jump, because otherwise you're going to get stuck at one of these, like Jeff was saying, plateaus right here. You'll just keep banging against it because we haven't gotten this up yet. So as coaches, when we're coaching our clients and trying how to move them, we try to find out why they're getting stuck. It's usually one of these two. One of these two. Could be down here too. Not enough buyer's agents, not enough admin support, not enough marketing. It's usually one of those three. Can quickly diagnose. It's one of these three. And once we figure which one it is, we put some emphasis on it, and then boom, we break through and we're playing around up in this area here. And we're trying to figure out how to get all these dials turned to break through to this one. Make sense? Okay. I'm going to give this to you. Thoughts, questions? Do you have any questions on that? What kind of marketing? Jonathan, good question. You know, the sky's the limit. I mean, there's all kinds of different types of, I mean, I could probably talk for 20 hours on all the different options you have for marketing. You know, I mean, you could be buying leads. That would go into the marketing category. You could be paying for flyers. You could be paying for telephone numbers. I mean, even some CRMs are marketing CRMs. You know, this could be all over the map on marketing, all over the map.
Brian, I was going to say, it seems like they should, though, because it's my personal anecdotal experience that 75% of agents try to hire a buyer's agent as their first team member.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no, I
majority attempt to go down that road, which is just fraught with mistakes and blind alleys. And it's
that's kind of like what I wanted to do this weekend after spending the whole weekend showing houses. It's like, oh my God, like I spent no time with family, you know. And that's kind of where I'm like leaning, and I'm like hearing you speak. I'm like, really, I need to go admin, which is counterintuitive for me, but that's really where I need to go,
because it ramps up the cost. There's the old saying that, like, if you don't have an assistant, you're the assistant, though, and so that would make you the assistant for your buyer's agent.
Let's highlight that point. If you're not the assistant, if you don't have an assistant on your team, you are the assistant, and then you become your buyer's agent's assistant. And I don't think that's what you're signing up for or intend to sign up for. So watch Brian.
Probably the wrong direction.
Yeah,
exactly.
It really is. I'm finally throwing that growth budget in there for you guys, so you guys can download that image and use it. That's totally true, Albert. I've seen it happen. I mean, if you're going to start a real estate team with agents, and I've even seen people try to do it transaction coordinators, you know, like someone you pay per file. It doesn't work. I mean, no top teams do that, not for long. Because the transaction coordinator just can't bring, and I think we've talked about this group many a times, they just can't bring the level of service. All they'll do is just input things for you into the company's computer. They're not going to provide you marketing support. There's, you know, a few things, 3 things really, that the team leader must give to its buyer's agents. And number 1, it's full admin support. Okay. Number 2, it's leads. And number 3, it's training and mentoring and accountability. It's that leadership. So number 3 is leadership. Accountability, training, mentoring. And usually the agents don't think they need that last one, but boy, they need that the most. That's the most important one. And then I'd say admin support's the second most important. Because otherwise, if they don't use your admin support, or the admin support doesn't take everything away for them, so that when they write an offer, they're done with it, contract to close, they are done, they will get busy when they have a closing this week. And if you have agents getting busy when they have a closing that week, they will not lead generate that week. They're already back in old school real estate. They're not leveraging. They should not know there's a closing this week. It shouldn't even be an excuse. You're taking away all their excuses so that they're successful. So
One of my early management mentors put a fine point on that. He said, as a manager, it's your job to take away all the excuses and put your people in a position to win. But take away the excuses and watch people grow and produce.
So you want them addicted to your administrative support. You want them dependent on it so that they can be all offense. You take away the defense for them. That makes sense. Okay.
I love the sports
All
analogies.
right. So I think I've shared that production growth budget with all of you in the chat room. So you can just download it there, kind of give you an idea. And I'll just leave it with this, guys. To me, that was a great question, by the way, Jeff. To me, you need to get to a point when here's when you want to do it, start a team. Like, I think Jeff's at the end of the spectrum. I think at 40, he needs to have done this. Like that, you know, if you were coaching with me, I'd be like, come on, man. I'd be badgering you about this every freaking week. Like, because 40, it's there. I mean, that's nosebleed time. But at 20, you should be thinking about it. In fact, if you're real confident, you can hire in advance of the need. I'm okay with that at 20. 30 is definitely because nosebleed's right around the corner. But if you're 20 and you still want to grow and you're on a trajectory of selling more and more each year and you feel like you're going to sell more next year, then I'd start thinking about it. Might as well hire in advance of it and get it there. 40 though, for sure.
So I'd like to open this up to some comments. What is something that you heard in there that you like, something that you know?
Going live.
I love the notion, John, of taking away all the excuses by providing that kind of support.
Yep.
Listen, go. Your job is not this. Your job is not paper pushing.
Yep. And that's what really good salespeople hate. They'd really rather put needles in their eyes for the most part. The ones that are great closers and have that personality to close, it's very creative right side, but not a lot of left side. But there are people that do left side and live to do left side. You know, so getting them and getting them hooked on it, because if they're doing well and they're depending on your admin support, where are they going to go? They're going to lose you and the admin support. And so what you want to say to that team when you're bringing them in is, listen, I'm going to give you leads. I'm going to bury you in leads. But for every one I give you, you need to give the team one. This isn't communism. This is capitalism. We're on the team. So your job is to, every time I give you one, you bring in one. And then you bury them with leads, and they'll never be able to keep up with you, but they'll never leave. Make sense? And the excuse is, oh, I don't know. People don't answer the phone. I don't like to call, you know. People get their feelings hurt. Set up a system. And when you have a good system, if you look at the word system, it's an acronym. The S saves you serious time, effort, money, and stress. The word systems saves you serious time, effort, money, and stress. And have your systems. And that's really what Vera has brought to Shane. I used to walk into Shane's office and just be like, dude, how do you handle all of those things? He had this like gigantic spreadsheet and everything was, and he was buried. He didn't have time with his family. He's had kids growing up. Vera came on. She started to take on that work. Now Shane spends time with his families, coaches them. He does things with them, and he's much more productive. It's horses for courses. The first one is that admin hire. Thank you for that, Amaryl, and taking away those excuses. If your job is to be a producer, get your eye on the prize, be outcome focused, and get going. Who else picked something up from there?
I like the whole explanation of profit versus profit margin.
Big difference.
Yeah, a lot of, especially like newer agents who are still like people who are getting used to working on, 100% commission can really want to hold on to like as much of their commission as they can, and their mind can narrow down into thinking like, no, I mean, I did all this work, it's mine.
Yeah.
But there is, like a tit for tat and be a win-win if and only if, because I did have an experience with a team that I was not getting the administrative support. So it has to be run well so that you can want to give your leads to the team leader. And then also feel like you're getting quality leads. So it is like, it has to be a relationship of giving and getting, and that you both can increase your profits, both the buyer's agents and the team lead. So I think that's when it would be like a perfect marriage. So it does help me like understand a little bit.
Yeah, that is, and there's one more element to add into that perfect marriage, and that is that you're going to get the coaching and counseling. You don't want to be out there on an island by yourself and just kind of, how do I do this? Because there's so many things in our business that are counterproductive. When you look at somebody, when you look at a Shane or you look at a Margin, they make it look easy. Well, it is simple, but it's not easy. But they've got it down to a system, a science, and they just keep going and growing. And that's what Margin's doing. And that's what I hope for all of you.
Hold on, you're early. Let me, hi, nice to meet you. Let me get off my team meeting.
Yeah, don't worry.
All right, Ed, go. Business always has the right of way.
Are you talking to me?
Yep, I said go ahead and go. Business has the right of way.
Okay, take care. Have a good one. Bye. I didn't know I was on mic. Bye, John. See you later.
Bye.
All right, so we're coming right up. We only have a few more minutes left. Somebody else pop in with something they heard in this meeting that resonated. I bet if I said I'd give you a pizza if you say something, everybody would be talking.
You got to be in it to win it.
That's
You got to
it.
put your money on the line.
That's
You know,
it.
you got to invest into yourself. Who better than to invest into yourself? Every one of you.
If not
Every
you,
single
who?
one of you.
Right. It's just hitchhiking on what you're saying, and please keep going, Shane. But if not you, who? And if not now, when? It's your business. Keep
Truly
going, Shane.
lifting off your bootstraps, as they would say, right? And digging in and making a difference. If you don't have the schedule right now, if you don't have the discipline, if you don't have the balance, dig deeper. You got to figure it out. I mean, I'm talking to myself too, just as much as I'm talking to you guys. So it's all good. Trust me. We're all there. We have waves that we ride in life, right? Peaks and valleys. You know what I'm saying? We just got to get good with the ebbs and the flows. But moreover than anything, you got to be disciplined to a schedule that's going to get you there. And how are you going to do that? Does it require you to wake up at 5 a.m.? You got to get your mind right. You got to get your body tight. All right. You talk about where do I carve out the time? Because certainly the hardest thing to do should be done first thing in the morning. And I learned that from Brian Eisenhower.
Eat the frog first. Yep, eat the frog first.
So, if you need to get your mind right, if you need to feel pumped up, get your workout in, get your yoga done, get your meditation, right? And then hit the phones and be in harmony with yourself and get shit done. Not mean. Like get your flow going, figure out what to say. Scripts are great. Scripts are amazing, but they should only be used just to adapt and make it your own, figure out, more vocabulary, figure out some the right data to follow, to educate yourself, keep yourself rolling and current, but certainly make it all your own and be structured to a schedule. Find that discipline.
Let me hitchhike on that for a second, Shane, because I heard two things that I want to highlight that you said. One is I'm talking to myself. The most important conversation that you'll have as a real estate agent, as a commissioned person, is that internal conversation that you're having. That I call it that I self, little I, capital S self. Having that, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're the one that's got to create that and drive that from the inside. So do have that talk to yourself. Plan it. Have affirmations. be outcome focused, but not just hitting the target, hitting the benefits that'll come from that. So I constantly say to people, outcome focused, benefit driven. And then the other thing I want to quote is a quote from Ted Lasso, the TV show that just won all the Academy Awards. I love Ted Lasso. I lived his life as a coach overseas. And Ted said, you got to be a goldfish. What animal has the shortest memory on the planet? Goldfish.
Yep.
Under 5 seconds. So if it didn't work yesterday, guess what? When you wake up in the morning, it's a great day to have a great day. It's a brand new day to be alive, and you get to do it all over again. And yesterday doesn't have to impact you if you make the changes in that talk to yourself. So I'll get off my soapbox and turn it back over to you, Shane.
No, it's all good. Am I still on? Sorry, I'm driving.
Ah, okay.
It is no, it's all guys, we are in an amazing industry right now that's on fire, right? So it is all good. You know what I mean? Like, you're investing your time and energy, you're fishing where the fish are at, right?
Yes.
So, you've got opportunity in front of you, and it is amazing what very little work could truly turn into. You just got to keep up with that very little work every day. So if it means doing a post every day, set aside the time to do a post every day. If it means, having a glass of scotch at 6 o'clock in the evening and make calls for 2 hours and catch up with everybody over dinner and nighttime or whatever, then do that too.
That's what Morales does.
That's
Robert
exactly what
Morales,
Russ does.
and that's why he's
Yep.
mid 6 figures right now with a lot of months left in the year.
It's the truth. It's the truth. You just, you gotta, that all comes from knowing where you're going too, right? He's looking at his database, he's looking at his network, he's looking at the people he needs to talk to, and he's realizing that, hey, it's probably better suited to call between 6 and 8, or 7 and 9, But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that you don't do the hardest thing first thing in the morning. And if that means prospecting, just to bring on new people, then that means prospecting, and doing that for, the time that you set aside for it. That time blocking is essential.
Yeah, a couple of comments on that. One, as Shane mentioned, you want to use the WIT method, the W-I-T method. Does anybody know what that stands for? The WIT method? Yeah, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Go all in. Play full out. This life and this career is not a dress rehearsal. This is real life. So go all in. And to Shane's point, if you don't know where you're going, any road looks like it'll get you there. It doesn't, but it just looks that way. So get
It's
that
not,
out
guys.
there.
Seriously, just resort. It's tough because there's so much good information to consume, but you got to keep it simple as best you can, right? And that's what these meetings are about. We're trying to highlight the cliff notes here, where you should really start, And so it's important, if we take more time to go over these videos and grab those notes from it that we find useful to ourselves and start implementing that, it's true. It's genuinely going to, make a difference.
Okay, I got a message for, and business always has the right of way. So Amarella's got a jet, and it's time for us to close. We're 3 minutes over. And she asked if I would email the link. I want you all to go to the Real Estate Agent Roundtable. If you're not there, subscribe to it and ask to be notified. Hit the little bell, because when stuff comes out, you'll get it straight from Brian. But I want you to go and find it. I know it'd be easier to give you the link, but I want you to go and look for it. So now you know where it is, and now it's your own. All right. So guys, I hope you got as much out of this one as I did. It's just, to me, it's how a business should be run. And it gives you the numbers, and hopefully you'll take that and tack that up on your vision board and say, when I'm ready, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm here now, but I see myself on the right-hand side of this chart down the road. And then it's just a matter of conceive it, believe it, and achieve it. You have to believe it before you see it. Most people say, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, and they never do. But if you just have that crystal clear vision of empowering yourself and making it happen, then I promise you the universe will conspire for your success. What if that were true? and it is. So thank you for your time. I enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Go to the Real Estate Agent Roundtable. There's great information there. And thank you for your time, and hope you got some good info for your time. Peace out. And remember, these are all located. You will see this recording on the Real Estate Coaching Dude under videos, and it's listed by the date and by the content with the cover page, and you can just look at them all the way down the page. There's the listing program that is in there. If you need to go and look at getting buyers agreements, all of that's there. So just have fun and make money, but you got to have the skills. And the last thing I'm going to say is good technique doesn't care who uses it.
You need a microphone that you drop at the end of these meetings too, John, just so you know.
Boom, I'm out.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you in a bit. Thank you, man.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye-bye. Bye, Gladys.
Bye.
Bye, Angelica. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
John. Take care. Have a good day. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
You too. Feel better.
Thank you. Bye.